Jorge Gil Costa and I are honoured to have judged this year's Premio Valle Inclán for translations from the Spanish. All 5 of the books in our shortlist are superb translations of remarkable works. From Sophie Hughes's translation of Fernanda Melchor's Hurricane Season, with its delicious torrent of words, to the lucid prose of both Annie McDermott's translation of Dead Girls, Vyselva Almada, and Fionn Petch's translation of Luis Sagasti's A Musical Offering. We enjoyed the sense of foreboding in Lisa Dillman's translation of A Luminous Republic by Andres Barba, and the wry humour of Christina McSweeney's translation of Ramifications by Danielle Saldana Paris. I'm pleased to announce that as runner-up for this year's prize, we selected Lisa Dillman's impeccable translation of A Luminous Republic by Andres Barba. This is a story that lingers in the mind of the reader long after the final page has been turned, as much for its shocking evocation of a community grappling with the presence of outsiders, as for its call to question our own relationships with otherness. This is a text that is unput-downable in the very best sense.
Hi, this is Lisa Dillman, and I just wanted to say that I am so honored and so happy to have been nominated for the Valle Inclán this year. It's really meaningful to me for a couple of reasons. First, it's the Society of Authors, which has done so much for translators for so long. And that means a lot. Also because the first novel I ever translated was by Andres Barba, and it took a decade to find a publisher, but I knew that his writing was really special. So it makes me very happy to see his work recognized, not to mention the little thrill of having my work recognized.
It gives me great pleasure to announce that the winner of this year's Premio Valle Inclán is Fionn Petch's translation of Luis Sagasti's A Musical Offering. This extraordinary story of Bach's Goldberg variations leads the reader into a kind of patchwork of stories about music, musicians, composers, as well as the victims of concentration camps and those on the losing side of wars. It was this combination of perfect, confident prose and fascinating content that makes this our winner this year.
Hello, I'm Fionn Petch, translator of Luis Sagasti's A Musical Offering. It means everything to me for A Musical Offering to win the Premio Valle Inclán. As someone who's come to literary translation quite recently and somewhat slantwise, it's a huge affirmation that I'm doing what I should be doing, and I really hope it will lead to new opportunities and new books. My heartfelt thanks to the judges for this honour and vote of confidence. My congratulations also to everyone else on the shortlist. I honestly didn't think I'd be here doing this when I saw the rest of the shortlist. My gratitude to Carolina Orloff and Sam McDowell for setting up Charco Press, and of course to Luis Sagasti for writing the book in the first place. Finally, I'd like to thank my editor Robin Myers and proofreader Fiona McIntosh, both of whom are musicians and without whose musical knowledge this particular offering would have been all dissonance and discord.
Judging this year's Schlegel-Tieck Translation Prize was a great pleasure for me, and I think also for my co-judge Jen Kaleha. The first book on our shortlist is Christoph Ransmayer's Cox, or The Course of Time, translated by Simon Pear. A very unusual novel about an encounter between two personalities, the 18th century Qianlong Emperor of China and an English clockmaker who he hires to come to his court and make him the most remarkable clocks ever made. We have two books by Jamie Bullock, The Day My Grandfather Was a Hero by Paulus Hochgatterer. Now this is a very interesting Second World War novel. The second of Jamie Bullock's appearances on this shortlist is for a translation of The Hungry and the Fat by Timo Vermes. This is a very different kind of novel, a satire. Next, we have the novel Käsebier Takes Berlin by Gabriele-Tergit, translated by Sophie Duvernoy. This is a very unusual book, a newspaper novel written in Berlin in the 1920s. And lastly, we have a translation by someone who's also appeared on these lists many times before, Karen Lieder, for her translation of the poem cycle Porcelain, Poem on the Downfall of My City by Doris Grünbein. And so, coming on to our runner-up. The runner-up is Simon Pear for his translation of Cox, or The Course of Time, by Christoph Ransmayr. To tell you a little bit more about it, as I said, a lot of the other prose on this year's long list tended towards the flat and vernacular, but Simon Pear's lush translation renders the richness and suppleness of language required to describe fantastic ornaments, exquisite metal menageries, and the deep currents of feeling that they were designed to express.
Hi, I'm Simon Pear. I'm thrilled to have been chosen as runner-up for the 2021 Schlegel-Tieck Prize. My thanks go out first of all to Jen Kalecha and Alexander Starrett, the judges, and to the Society of Authors. As runner-up, I of course came second to someone whose identity I look forward to discovering. So congratulations to the winner and to the other translators on the shortlist.
And the winner of this year's Schlegel-Tieck Translation Prize is Karen Lieder for her translation of Porcelain by Doris Grünbein. Reading it is like watching someone solve a 10-dimensional crossword, except that the result is powerful, amusing, and moving. Every line stands comparison with the original. Her translation operates at a degree of complexity and accomplishment that is rare to see.
Hello, my name is Karen Lieder, and I'm the translator of Doris Grünbein's Porzellan, Poem vom Untergang meiner Stadt, which appeared in German in 2005 and came out as Porcelain, Poem on the Downfall of My City, with Seagull Books in 2020. I'm so delighted and honoured to have been awarded the Schlegel-Tieck Prize this year. It's wonderful to be part of such a fantastic shortlist, alongside very fine books by excellent translators, to all of whom I'd like to pay tribute. So thank you very much to the judges, to the ALCS, the Society of Authors, and to the Goethe-Institut.
Hello, I'm Ian Patterson, one of the judges for the Scott Moncrieff Prize. Jeannie Al-Adef and I had a difficult time compiling a shortlist from such a large number of excellent translations, but we did do it, and the 6 we chose all stood out as exemplary in one way or another. Any one of them might have won in a less competitive year. Adeline Dieudonné is a stand-up comedian as well as a writer, and her debut novel La Vraie Vie, Real Life, has won a slew of prizes in France. Roland Glasser's translation captures brilliantly the simultaneous passion, humour and detachment of the writing in a tour de force of fluent readability. Winter in Sokcho by Elisa Choi-Duzapin, set in the unforgivingly bleak town of Sokcho on the border of North and South Korea, is a slender, delicate and thoughtful exploration of mutual differences. The Death of Comrade President by Alain Maboncou is a coming-of-age novel set in the Congo of the 1970s. Narrated through the eyes of the central character, a boy called Michel, Geraldine Schwartz wrote Those Who Forget to discover what it means to be an ordinary German or an ordinary Frenchman who unthinkingly accepted the policies of fascism in Nazi Germany and Vichy France. Flawlessly translated by Laura Maris, who has created an English language version that ensures the book is equally elegant, readable, approachable and unforgettable. The runner-up is Emily Boyce's translation of Pascal Garnier's rather grotesque thriller A Long Way Off. The translation is perfect and exactly captures the bleak comic tone of the original and the direct speech of the characters in a laid-back but gripping English version.
I'm delighted to be chosen as runner-up of this year's Scott Moncrieff Prize for my translation of Pascal Garnier's noir A Long Way Off. The first book I ever translated under the mentorship of Ros Schwartz was Garnier's How's the Pain, which was published a decade ago. And A Long Way Off is the final Garnier book to be published by Gallic Books. So to receive the judges' recognition for this book is a really lovely end to 10 years of publishing Garnier, who John Banville described as the true heir to Simenon.
But the work which the judges agreed best deserved this year's prize was The Invisible Land by Hubert Mingarelli, an extraordinary novella about the aftermath of war and the repercussions of violence in all sorts of ordinary situations. Sam Taylor's translation reads at least as well as the original French, loses none of the original's understated power and elegance, and delivers a faultless experience of this moving examination of different kinds of cruelty, violence and tenderness at the end of the conflict.
I'm really pleased and honoured, partly for myself and mostly for Hubert, who is one of my favourite authors and whose work I think deserves more recognition. Hubert died a year ago at 63. I didn't know he even had cancer until he sent me an email explaining why he wouldn't be able to write an article promoting his previous book, For Soldiers. And he never mentioned it again after that, except when I asked him directly about it. He was a very private, modest man, almost to the point of self-effacement. And I wish I'd known him better than I did. But like most writers, he put his soul into his books. And I'm getting to know him better by rereading his back catalogue. And I hope one day to be able to translate more of his books.
Hi, my name is Robin Law and I'm Head of Prizes and Awards at the Society of Authors. The Bernard Shaw Prize, for translation from the Swedish, is named after the dramatist whose Nobel Prize went towards a foundation for the promotion and diffusion of knowledge and appreciation of the literature and art of Sweden in the British Islands. It was extremely heartening to see so many translations from Swedish of such a high quality entered for this prize, demonstrating the enduring popularity of Scandinavian authors with a British audience. It proved tricky to whittle these down into a shortlist. So many differing genres were represented, each with their specific challenges of register, period, setting, and tone. The shortlist showcases this variety, encompassing popular and contemporary literature, as well as literary fiction, and a collection of letters, ranging from original publication dates of the 1930s to the current day, and set variously in Sweden, Finland, and the far-reaching imagination. So exceptional were the entries this year that our judges were unable to settle on a single runner-up. I'm thrilled to announce that the joint runners-up for the 2021 Bernard Shaw Prize are Sarah Death for Chitambo and Amanda Doxtator for Crisis, both published by Norvik Press. The judges said, Death and Doxtator's translation prowess proved inseparable. As judges, we were delighted that we could split the honour between these two translators in recognition of the fine job they have both done in bringing two seminal Swedish texts from the 1930s into modern English translations.
It's a true delight to see Hagar Olsen's Chitambo as joint runner-up for the Shaw Prize, sharing its place with another modernist novel of the same period and from the same small British publisher. I would like to thank the judges and the whole team at Norvik Press, particularly my editors Janet Garton and Claire Thompson. Thanks also to Philly, the Finnish Literature Exchange, for funding the translation.
Hello, my name is Amanda Doxtator. I'm thrilled to have been named runner-up for the Bernard Shaw Prize in Translation for bringing Korenboy's 1934 novel Crisis into English. It's a privilege and an honor to be a part of this illustrious shortlist of talented translators working in Swedish. This prestigious distinction is a testament to the many talented, generous, and supportive translators and scholars who helped me with this project over the years. A special thanks to Barbara Osher for her enduring support of Swedish culture, and to Helena Forshaw-Scott and the dedicated and brilliant staff of Norvik Press for all that they did to shepherd this project through the years.
The winner of the 2021 Bernard Shaw Prize is Sarah Death for Letters from Tove by Tove Jansson, edited by Bill Weston and Helen Svensson, and published by Sortop Books. Judge Charlotte Berry said, "This translation was the standout contribution from within the shortlist for the judges. It is beautifully illustrated and produced, balancing general reader interest with scholarly value throughout its footnotes and index. Congratulations."
What an honour it is to be awarded the George Bernard Shaw Prize for Letters from Tove. There are so many people I want to thank for making this happen, beginning with the 2 judges and everyone at the Society of Authors. I'm thrilled for my indefatigable publishers, Sort of Books. Nat Jans and Mark Ellingham have been a pleasure to work with and always so generous with their time and enthusiasm. I must also thank the editors of the Swedish edition, Helen Svensson and Boel Westin, who were always on hand to help and advise during the project, and Tove Jansson's estate and her niece Sophia.
Hello and welcome. My name is Rebecca DeWald, and together with Sawat Hussain, I'm one of the co-chairs of the TA committee. For those of you who don't know the TA committee yet, I'll give a very quick introduction to what we do, and I'll also let you and everyone else know what we're planning for 2022. The TA committee is the organising committee of the Translators Association, one of the groups within the Society of Authors. New committee members are elected by the TA members every November at the annual AGM and serve a 3-year term. The aim of the TA is to advocate for the rights and needs of literary translators. A literary translator being anyone translating literary texts such as fiction and non-fiction, children's lit, but also academic writing, plays, screenplays, and anything else that requires the skills and expertise of a literary translator. You can also join the TA as an emerging literary translator. In 2021, the committee set up 3 working groups focused on translating for the theatre, film rights, and inclusivity and representation, and will continue that work in 2022. The aim of the first 2 groups is to eventually design guides for TA members. The latter will do ongoing work towards more openness and opportunities in publishing, more visibility of translators of colour and translators from communities, backgrounds, or identities who have been and continue to be marginalised and underrepresented in the publishing landscape. The current campaign, #Translators_on_the_cover, is part of this aim, as is the TA's position, jointly with the SoA and the European Council of Literary Translators Associations Seattle, to condemn the Hungarian government's crackdown on LGBTQ+ rights. In addition to advocacy, the TA committee also organises a number of events for translators. In 2022, we are, together with a number of literature organisations across the UK, programming the events at the Literary Translation Centre as part of the London Book Fair in early April. The TA committee is also planning a series of events, the digital TA at Home Festival, in the first week of November. We are committed to being an open and transparent committee and always like hearing from you. You can find the full list of TA committee members on the TA website, so please do contact us directly via email or Twitter or via our SoA coordinators Catherine Fuller and Ombre Marvan. You can also speak to us directly at the digital TA social right after the TA Prizes announcement. We hope to see you there.
Hi, I'm Vineet Lal. I was one of the 3 judges for this year's TA First Translation Prize, along with Danny Hahn and Annie McDermott. It was a pleasure and a privilege to be part of the judging panel for the TA First Translation Prize. We were all hugely impressed by the outstanding quality of the translations, which made our task extremely difficult. However, I am delighted that we were able to agree on a shortlist of 6 remarkable translations. Tomorrow They Won't Dare to Murder Us by Joseph Andras, translator Simon Laser, and editor Andrew Shaw. An Inventory of Losses by Judith Chalansky, translator Jackie Smith, and editor Bill Swainson. The Phone Box at the Edge of the World by Laura Imai Messina, translator Lucy Rand, and editor Sophie. Marble by Emily Smith, translator Jennifer Russell, and editor Denise Rhodes Hansen. Sao Bernardo by Graciliano Ramos, translator Padma Vishwanathan, and editor Edwin Frank. Rolling Fields by David Trueba, translator Rahul Berry, and editor Betty Anbernino. The runner-up this year is Sao Bernardo. Padma Vishwanathan's translation is nothing short of a tour de force, where her ability to replicate for the English reader the texture, register, and tonality of a very particular regional voice gives this book its pulse, its life force. The craft involved in taking the original and echoing the nuances of its language in English is one that we as judges were hugely impressed by.
Thank you very much to the Society of Authors, to founder Daniel Hahn, and to his fellow judges Vineet Lal and Annie McDermott for honoring both my translation and my editor, the visionary Edwin Frank, with this runner-up prize.
And this year's winner is An Inventory of Losses. This book, almost impossible to classify, is breathtaking in its ambition, scope, depth, and precision. From the Caspian tiger to a bizarre encyclopedia in Feeds in the Forest, this is a book that defies all concept of horror. But it is the quite astounding mastery of style and register of the crafts of storytelling that makes this book as awe-inspiring and exquisite to look at, to read, unanimous winner.
Hello, I'm absolutely thrilled that of all the fantastic contenders, Bill Swainson and I have been chosen as the winners of this year's TA First Translation Prize. I'm so pleased the judges were as enamoured with An Inventory of Losses as I was when Bill introduced me to it. Above all, I'd like to say a special thank you to Bill Swainson for being willing to take a risk on an unknown translator and for his wise input and guidance throughout. I'm also really grateful to the brilliant team at MacLehose Press for all their support.
My name is Bill Swainson, and it's a real pleasure to accept the First Translation Award as one half of the translator-editor team who worked on Judith Shalansky's uncategorizable book, An Inventory of Losses. Thank you very much.
This is the jury report of the 2022 Vondel Translation Prize. The Vondel Prize is a biennial award for translations from Dutch to English. The jury would like to thank the Society of Authors and the Dutch Foundation for Literature for supporting this prize. The books on the shortlist cover time periods spanning more than a century and take the reader to vastly different worlds. The 5 highly skilled translators all notably display an ear for dialogue, a keen understanding of characterization, and an ability to create a distinctive narrative voice. Laura Watkinson has a unique talent for giving Dutch children's books a convincing voice, perfectly attuned to a young readership. Lampy, written by Ned Schaap, blends suspense and fantasy in the tale of the lighthouse keeper's daughter forced to work as a maid who befriends the monstrous fish-like son of the house. The Republic by Joost de Vries is a rollicking academic satire. Jane Hedley Kroll captures the energy and right tone of this fast-paced novel and handles the kaleidoscopic mix of historical, literary and cultural references with great aplomb. Jeroen Olieslagers' historical novel, Will, is a searching first-person portrayal of where the moral darkness of Nazi occupation leads a young Antwerp policeman in 1941. A significant challenge for any translator, which David Coleman's fine translation rises with impressive complexity and lively nuance. Which leaves the runner-up to the prize, and that's David McKay with Adrift in the Middle Kingdom, a 1934 classic by J. Sauerhoff. David McKay's astute and gifted translation renders the text in crystal clear poetic English, seeking out a timeless middle ground that sounds neither archaic nor anachronistic. Now we're going to listen to David giving us a very short reading from the book.
Hi, I'm David McKay, and I'll be reading from my translation of Adrift in the Middle Kingdom by J. Sauerhoff. Night, hot, heavy, and starless, lies over land and sea. Engorged with heat that has no place to go, not on the scorched land, not at sea still full of the heat of a long day. The dark air smothers life. Nothing moves. Thanks for listening. Please check out the Handheld Press website, handheldpress.co.uk, where you can order Adrift in the Middle Kingdom and lots of other great books. Bye.
So the winner of the 2022 Vondel Prize is David Doherty. Summer Brother by Jaap Robin describes the summer 13-year-old Brian spends in a trailer attempting to care almost single-handedly for his severely disabled brother. Now, unfortunately, David didn't feel able to appear before the camera today to accept the prize, but he's written a note which I'll now read to you. So David Doherty writes, I've been a translator for years, but it's still hard to say anything insightful about what I do for a living. It's mainly about enjoying the work and putting in the hours. Instead, I'd like to say thanks for the prize itself and the opportunities I've had to develop as a translator to the point where I get to work on a fantastic book like Son and Brother. Those were the words of David Doherty, the winner of this year's Vondel Translation Prize. And now we have Jaap Robben, who's also going to express his congratulations.
Dear David, I'm so honored that I can congratulate you on winning the Vondel Prize. You're such a marvelous translator. Your feeling for detail, for words, it's a gift. And I'm really, really pleased that the jury of the Vondel Prize chose you and your work to be awarded.
The 2021 panel of the Saif Ghobash Banipal Prize for literary translation from Arabic to English. The panel of judges selected a shortlist that consisted of 5 titles. A Bed for the King's Daughter by the Syrian writer Shahla Arjaili, translated by Sawad Hussain. Huda Barakat's novel, originally called Barid al-Layl, Night Post, now translated by Marilyn Booth as The Voices of the Lost. The novel God 99 by Hassan Belesim, an Iraqi writer now exiled in Finland, translated by Jonathan Wright. The Frightened Ones by Dima Wannus, a Syrian novelist, translated by Elizabeth Jacquet. And the novel of the Egyptian writer Rasha Adli, originally entitled Sharaf, meaning passion, now translated into English by Sarah Anani as The Girl with the Braided Hair. Such was and is the variety of venues, themes, and narrative techniques of these different works that initially members of the panel prioritized several of these works, all of which, of course, are highly recommended. But it was immediately clear that there was one of these works that we all admired greatly. And it didn't take much discussion to decide that that work is this year's winner of the prize, namely Rasha Adli's The Girl with the Braided Hair. It's thus the joint hope and expectation of the panel of judges that readers of this wonderful translation of a wonderful Egyptian novel will make their own similar discoveries. Thank you.
Hello from quarantine. I actually do have COVID-19, so I'm recording this from quarantine right now. That said, I am thrilled and honored to be the recipient of the Saif Ghobash Banipal Prize for my translation of Rasha Adli's novel, The Girl with Braided Hair. The AUC Press has played a significant and, in my opinion, as yet unmatched role in producing and promoting English translations of Arab fiction throughout the world. And the Banipal Prize is a valuable award to increase awareness and readership of fiction from this region. I'm extremely grateful to the author, Rasha Adli, and I am deeply indebted to both Nadia Naqib and Nadine El-Hadi of ASC Press. On this occasion, I'd like also to express my gratitude to the very first recipient of the Banipal Prize, Humphrey Davis, who sadly passed away recently. Humphrey always lent a hand to his fellow translators and was the first to introduce me to the ASC Press. He will be sorely missed.
Hi, I'm Ruth. My fellow judge Steph Morris and I would like to congratulate all the translators who submitted entries to the 2022 Society of Authors Goethe-Institut German Translation Prize. The text was an extract from the novel Schwitters by Ulrike Dresner, and it's about the German artist Kurt Schwitters during the time he spent in the Lake District in the UK in the aftermath of the Second World War. This was a fiendish text, full of wordplay and experimentation, mixing the two languages with playful abandon, much like one of the artist's collages. The runners-up are Robert Sargent and George Roberts. In Robert Sargent's text, we particularly admired his translation of the word Gespenstig, an invented word derived from the word Gespenst, ghost. His wispy and will-o'-the-wisp blended perfectly with the misty atmosphere of the narrative. George Roberts' translation was strong on sound effects throughout, an imaginative blend of German and English, focusing on the echoes and rhymes between them. We particularly liked his mangled, mangelt, contorted German. Congratulations to both.
Hello, I'm George Roberts, and I'm absolutely delighted to be one of the runners-up of this year's Goethe-Institut Award. I really enjoyed exploring the links between languages as well as the differences in this text. It taught me so much to work on it. And so thank you so much for this, and thank you to everyone who's been involved in these awards.
And now to the winner. It gives us great pleasure to award the Society of Authors Goethe-Institut Prize 2022 to Sharon Howe. Sharon's translation was a joy to read, fluid, idiomatic, and accommodating to the English reader, while retaining its playful strangeness where that was an important feature. Sharon paid close attention to sound effects and recurring phrases, weaving them into her text that read with a lovely English cadence. Congratulations, Sharon.
Hello. I'm absolutely thrilled to win the Goethe-Institut Award and really grateful for this wonderful opportunity. I found this text hugely challenging but great fun to translate. It absolutely encapsulates the frustrations and the joys of literary translation because it's so linguistically inventive, full of puns and wordplay and neologisms. One critic has called the author's style polyglot poetics, and that captures it really well. I think it's brilliantly written.